Hello yogis, my name is Juliana and today I'm going to share with you a little tutorial on how to tie and rig your aerial yoga hammock. So there's a few determining factors to decide on what height you want your hammock, and that's going to be based on the height of your ceiling, how long you order your hammocks, things like that. So little things that you might have to play with as you go along. So this is what the knot looks like after it's been tied, and I usually do a basic slip knot, which I will show you. So this here is called a D-ring, and this here is called a carabiner. It's a locking carabiner, so it has a little thing that screws to tighten it up to make it secure. So the carabiner hooks onto the D-ring, and then this carabiner hooks onto your daisy chain in the ceiling. So you'll have a little loop that comes down with little loops on it, and then you can adjust the height from the daisy chain. So most of these kits come with all of those parts. So we just want to make sure when we are tying the knots that we're all spread out, making sure there's no little holes or tears in the fabric for safety. And then you want to make sure that there's no twists in the silk. So I'm going to gather up my other end here, and just really important that the fabric at the end is gathered up evenly. So what we do is start with one end and we slowly bunch together the fabric so that this little fringe of gather at the end is all even. So we're not going to have like little ends that are sticking up and down. So as even as possible. So if there is unevenness in the fringe area, you are going to feel it when you get into your hammock. So this is all gathered up, and so you do this at both ends. Cool. So I'm going to take this gathered up end into my left hand, and then I am going to, you can see everything, I'm going to take this gathered up end and I'm going to place it over top of my arm, and I kind of pretend that I'm a waiter at a fancy restaurant and I'm putting my cloth over my arm. Hang on, there's one step that we missed. We want the D-ring on first. So we're going to put the D-ring on, and I'm just going to slide it down, and this is actually easier to do when you're sitting down, and that way the D-ring doesn't slide all the way down because you don't want it to be too far. So we're going to be grabbing a hold of this D-ring. So doing this seated is best. So I'm taking the bunched up end in my left hand, putting it over my forearm like a waiter in the fancy restaurant. Then I'm going to take this right hand and pull it away from my face, grabbing a hold of the D-ring. I'm going to keep a nice little end of tail here, because when this knot tightens, this tail is going to shorten up. So I'm going to pull that little D-ring through the slot, and then I have a nice little knot here. So then the tail end of this knot can be fed through this little top opening. And then just giving it a nice pull, a nice tighten on either end as much as you can. There's a little trick here too. You can stand on one of the tails and pull. Another little trick here, if you have just taken down your hammocks and you're ready to wash them, and these knots can get really, really tight from people bearing their body weight down into them. So if you have a difficult time pulling these knots apart, a little trick is to use your heel and massage out the knot to loosen it up just like that. And that's about it. So that's how to tie your knot. You can also link these two together onto one carabiner if you're using a single point harness, so both of the D-rings go onto one daisy chain. If you're hanging your hammock from 2 anchor points, then you're just simply going to have 2 carabiners, so 1 carabiner per D-ring, just making sure you're untwizzling your fabric before you hang it up. And that's about it. Good luck. Feel free to send me a message or comment if you need any help or questions.